Here we are, hitting up events, drinking our way through Chicago beer, and trying not to miss a thing.
Yeah, because, the cork popped out, boom, it flies like fucking 10 feet. We're like, yeah, let's do it.
All you have to do is add some fruit, stir it up, and ride that milk-shaped wave.
Whenever I see him, I gotta take a photo with the most decorated brewer in Chicago, Jonathan Cutler.
It'll be like the stuff you hear. You ever go to, every time you go to Floyd's, all the music sounds like this. Raw, raw, raw.
Sometimes you want a small beer, but really, you want a big beer.
You gotta take in all those big aromatic hops.
Hey, what are you doing this weekend? Waiting in line for a bottle release?
You should have never been a fad. The Black IPA is delicious.
Hey, and welcome to Chicago Beer Pass. I'm Brad Chmielewski,
Brad, what's up, man? I'm Nik White.
and we're lounging. We're lounging.
Fucking right, we're lounging, man. It's a single hop session pale ale from Off Color.
We almost never have Off Color.
They're notorious for not making IPAs. And this is the closest I guess we've gotten to that, is an American pale ale.
Right, 5%. Cascade and whole cone, Cascade whole cones.
Yeah.
So I thought there was a comma there.
No
I was
corn.
like, what's
No.
this cones?
No corn in this beer.
Yeah, I was at the store and I was seeing a bunch of Off Color stuff, and I saw they have a new beer that they just collaborated with. I am now blinking. It's going to be available at the tap room this coming week.
Allagash?
No, it was a restaurant.
Dutch bag? Oh, I don't know, restaurant.
Oh, no, I should have looked this up before we started recording.
Okay.
It was on their Twitter. I think I retweeted it from the Chicago Beer Pass Twitter.
There's a couple of otters on this can. And a crane. And a mouse.
Right.
Surprise, surprise.
But Off Color's always got these black and white cans with the mouse.
I think the mouse's name is Troublesome.
Okay. So it's been a little while. I think the last one I had was beer for ball games when I was at Sox Park.
I get that. It's so appropriate.
Yeah. I saw there was beer for hoops, and that might have been the one with the French vanilla puree or something. And I was like,
Interesting.
I don't know if I want that.
There was a beer for pizza, I think.
Okay.
And it was like it's basically like a cherry cola kind of beer. I was out on that. But beer for ball games and this beer for lounging, I'm back in.
Yeah.
I'm back in.
I feel like sometimes they do hit these ones that you're like, yeah, and then you go back for another beer for,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, damn, no.
Yeah. It's funny for them, cheers to them, because, they debuted with a Troublesome, which was a Goes. And then they had a hard time explaining what a Goes was to people, so they renamed it like a blended wheat ale, I think.
Okay.
But then they were always known, like you said, for making these kind of esoteric, kind of, weird in a good way.
Right.
Different beers that you're not used to seeing. Oh, but then they kind of have this other lane now of this Beer 4 series that they really lean into heavy. And it gives them like a nice counterbalance to the wine barrel aged and barrel aged, the blending, the unique yeast strains, all that stuff. Nice counterbalance.
And the beer for naming convention is super smart and very clever, because you kind of often will want to take a picture doing that thing.
Beer for dealing with your family is pretty hilarious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So we're gonna crush a few of these as we talk about some breweries we hit up this past week and
Right
some
on.
events coming up. Did I say on the show, or Nick has started a rumor that Light the Lamp is closing.
This is what the streets have said, that this is what's happening. Right? The people.
But the rumor is
that the chef is leaving to join another brewery, and that the brewery is closing. Like they're selling all their stuff and they're just done and they're getting out of business.
Okay.
That's the rumor.
there wasn't any signs of a fire sale going on, because I took the drive out there.
To Gray's Lake?
Yeah.
Man, that's up there, Brad.
It's still not as far as Black Lung. I looked at the map.
Is Black Lung further?
Black Lung is farther than Light the Lamp, but they're pretty close to each
Funny.
other. I have been seeing this picture of this burger from Light the Lamp for, I don't know, years now.
Okay.
And it looked great. Every time I see this picture,
Yeah.
I'm like, that looks good.
Yeah.
And
You're convinced it's not just the lighting, or it's not just one or two people that nailed the shot. You're convinced like this must be a good burger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've heard it's good too.
I mean, it does look good. I'm in agreement with you. It looks great.
And then their beer has won medals.
Fucking swinging single.
Yeah.
We even had one of the last reels we had was with a couple of Light the Lamp beers. They had like they had a fruity sour, and then they had like this kind of peanut butter ale. They were both delicious. We blended them, So they weren't just a one-hit wonder either on the beer side.
Right.
Yeah.
So I made the trek out there mainly for the burger, but knowing the beer is good. I went in there. There was a few people there, not too crazy, which was kind of surprising because I think the Bears were playing and they had him on. Not a single person in there was watching this football game.
Oh, the Baby Bears have lost 10 in a row. They're the worst team in football.
So people just stopped watching?
I think people just tuned out. Yeah.
Okay. But Light the Lamp is, it's in the neighborhood. It's like you're like driving up and it's just like houses on the lake.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is very cute and nice. No way this place is closing because this is like your neighborhood bar.
Right. And then furthermore, that's a newer location. Their original location was like a strip mall location up the road, way smaller.
Okay.
That building is fairly new, even though they've been around for like 8 years. The space they're in is not very old.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
The burger was good, not 45 minutes hour drive good.
Did they at least have Merck's cheddar? I feel like they got Merck's cheddar.
They got Merck's cheddar.
Okay. Merck's cheddar helps most cases. It, most of the time makes things better.
Their sweet potato fries were better than their burger.
Really?
Yeah.
We need more sweet potato fries around here. Haymarket does a nice sweet potato tie.
Yeah.
And we need more sweet potato fries.
So those were hit. I like those. And the burger was good, but I felt like I could have went to Old Irving
Yeah.
and got just as good, maybe even a better burger, and it would have took me 10 minutes to get to.
Fraction of the time. I've had these moments where I'm on these romps in the suburbs, and it's difficult to sometimes not get frustrated because of the route, because of the journey. But then I think I have to resolve, and I'm not very good at this. I have to resolve that, hey, me going there is the joy. So no matter what I get or what I eat, and that's easier said than done, right? It's hard to stay positive when you make the route and then you go there and it leaves something to be desired. It's hard to be excited.
Right. There was no part of me that was like disappointed. It wasn't bad.
Okay.
I was just like, that was far. I will not do that drive again for that burger or those beers. Like the beers are good. The burger's good. The menu, they had a lot of vegetarian options. So that was neat to see.
Yeah.
I'd have to be going with someone else that's like wanting to go up there.
Yeah.
So I did it. I went to that brewery, possibly before it closes,
That's what the streets are saying, right?
or maybe
not.
Maybe it doesn't.
Maybe they're closing the way Goose Claiborne was closing for all those years.
right.
Like
They're telling people this to get them in the door. They got me in the door.
Oh man.
But then I'm sitting at the bar finishing up,
Yeah.
and I decided to be like, okay, well, what other spots can I hit up? Look at the map. Middle of nowhere. The closest place is Black Lung.
Or Wisconsin. You might as well just go to New Glarus at that point.
I was like, I could go to Black Lung. We just had some of their beers. We've gone up there. I feel like I need to go somewhere else. So I'm like backtracking around. I see that like Nightshade place.
Oh, so that's Waukegan.
Yeah. Like, that wouldn't have been bad, but I was like, Nick went there. And then this place, Broken Tea.
Broken Tea.
Yeah, came up kind of on the way back to Chicago.
So Light the Lamp is a hockey term because they got the hockey, lantern that sits on top of the goal. They had that as their logo at Light the Lamp.
Okay.
So I think Broken Tea is like golf related. I think.
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And so this place is in Highwood. It is a kind of on the other side of the tracks from Kings and Convict.
Highwood, Illinois. Hello.
Yeah, not far from Ravinia Brewing. Too.
Hey, you are rocking this North Shore thing, man. Holy smokes.
There's like all the breweries are like clustered. Like there's like little pockets, and then there's nothing for a long time, and then there's like a few of them, and then there's nothing. So, yeah. So Broken Tee, I went in.
Fairly new space. I feel like I've heard of their opening.
I think it was September
Okay.
of 2022.
All right.
So really not that long ago. There was a bunch of families in there watching the Bears game.
Yeah.
Because it was still like going by the time I've done all this. So they're in there. So there's a bunch of kids like kind of running around.
Yeah.
Mom like they locked themselves in the bathroom, and the mom's like, if you don't open this up, I'm taking your toy away or whatever it is. She said to them to get them out of there.
I will leave you here. I will put a refrigerator in front of this door, and you'll be here forever.
Yeah, and so I'm just.
I hope she didn't say that.
You now live at this brewery. I had one beer. I don't even remember what I got.
Okay.
It was good, and that was kind of all there was. Like, it's a small spot.
Does it kind of blend into other things you've done when you left the city, right? Like it didn't kind of nothing about it, and single thing kind of pulled you in and said, "Man, I'm at Broken Tee. Let's fucking go."
No, it feels a little like Printer's Row, almost like family. The tanks are right there. Wood, cement
Yeah.
look. They do have food,
Okay.
so they have a menu.
If you're in Highwood, because like you said, there is a gap. So like I'm in Rogers Park a lot, and if I go north through Evanston, if I pass Evanston, Highwood's on the route before I hit, I guess like Highland Park and shit. I would hit Highwood first,
Right.
With Netka, Kenilworth, all these little towns, all the North Shore shit.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, you're right. Outside of McCushla, if you're east and you're going straight north of the city,
1090 over there.
oh yeah, see, yeah, there ain't a lot over there, so there's room for a Broken Tee.
Right.
You know?
And there's a really good coffee place like next door to it, so I got a coffee for the
Okay.
drive back. That place was packed. There was like no one when
Chain, local roaster, or what do you think?
local place.
Okay.
When I left Broken Tee, I was the only person in there besides like the couple people that worked there. And then the coffee place was packed. Like I was going into the coffee place and there was like 5 other people going in at the same time. I was going in. It was busy. I was like, why is everyone hanging out? Like you could do the same thing at the brewery too. You can pull out your laptop and work too.
Yeah. I was gonna say, the Brews Association said there were 9,500 breweries in America last year.
Okay.
All-time high. I'm wondering out loud, like, the feeling you got in the brewery, was it the same feeling at the coffee shop? Like, with the experience of being at either, was one more exciting than the other for you?
I felt like going into the coffee shop, I was like, something must be happening here.
Yeah.
Like this is the spot to go to. And the brewery was like, does no one know that's over there? Like they also have food. Like the fact that they had food and no one was there too after the like couple families left was sort of like, this is weird. Why is this coffee shop packed? If the coffee shop was empty too, and I just chalk it up to just a lazy Saturday.
Yeah.
So, but found Broken Tee. So now if you're doing like a bike ride, because I've done the bike ride to Ravinia and Kings and Convict.
Yeah.
Toss in Broken Tee now,
Okay.
and they have food. So if you needed more food outside of tacos,
The old Broken Tee.
yeah. And
Right on.
I don't know if Kings and Convict is still a place or not.
Oh, man. Should have went to Kings and Convicts and got the King's bitch. Order yourself a King's bitch.
I don't know. I've had those beers. They are slightly disappointing.
Yeah. I did the 1-2 step of Beer Miscuous and Kings of Convicts when they broke the news, because I work in like 4s.
Yeah, Beer Miscuous is right there.
Yeah, so I was kind of stressed out about this Kings and Convicts thing because I ordered the King's bitch, and I'm like, well, what the fuck? So I just went to Beer Miscuous and I was like, give me the right way to heaven,
Okay.
or I think it might have been Straight Jacket. Like, bring it on. Let's just get right here.
Right, so now you could do Broken Tee, Beer Miscuous, Kings and Convict, Ravinia.
Okay,
Be a nice little run right there.
dig it. Yeah, I was curious about Broken Tee.
Now we know. So, no, you check it out. I recommend going to it.
Okay.
I had one beer, so I can't really. I had food and beer at Light the Lamp, and I'm good. Broken Tea's close enough that I'd be like, I'm gonna go here again, and give it another go.
Okay.
But Light the Lamp, their beers are in stores. I can get their beer. That's
True.
canned.
They're in cans. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because we had it in cans.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay.
But yeah.
North Shore Brad over here reporting live from the burbs.
I guess. Where am I going? Am I going south next time?
If you think things are spread out up north, wait till you ain't seen nothing yet, buddy. Wait till you get out south and you're like fucking an hour between breweries.
How about you? Where'd you hit up?
Man, well, shout out to our beloved Chicago Bulls. I was at the United Center. You know, to give you a quick layout of the UC, man, it's a lot of local restaurants, right? You know, Little Goat, Honey Boy Fried Chicken's there, Lily Q's there, even Gibson's.
Oh,
Steakhouse
really?
is there. It's kind of weird. But Goose has a pub there. So Goose has drafts at the bar.
Right.
And then they have a little stand outside the bar where you can get, and this repeats throughout all 3 floors.
Okay.
Where you can get all the hug stuff. And then you can get like.
Not the hug stuff.
Yeah.
Beer.
Hug.
I was like, big.
The
big
original, when we say hugs, to be fair, the original hugs is big hugs.
Yeah, I was
right?
like, you can't. Goose doesn't make big hugs, so I don't know.
All the bear hug stuff. So you can get every bear hug, and you can get 312 or Grand Line.
Okay.
And those little stations, little carts, little beer carts are all around the building.
Yeah.
And then all the craft beer is kind of regulated to this bar that's next to the atrium on the first 100 level, called the Mad West Bar. So that's where your 18th Streets, your Floyd's, Bourbon County Stout, Rev, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Even Toppling Goliath over there.
Oh, okay.
So you can get craft stuff, but it's off to the side. It's not on the main concourse at all. And then if you go whether it's 100 level or 300 level, Goose and all the AB stuff. So Michelob Ultra, and Corona, shit like that.
Okay.
That's your layout at United Center these days.
All right. Did you get a Bourbon County while you were there?
No, I got Alpha King.
What's the price on a Bourbon County?
Shit, Alpha King was probably like $12.
Right.
So BCS probably 15.
15,
That'd be my guess.
15, 20.
Yeah, which you get a cup that's 16 ounces. So
They're not giving you 60. They're gonna give you 16 ounces of Bourbon
I
County.
think they only got the one cup, right? I think they only got the one size cup. So maybe I should have got that, but I just wasn't in the mood for BCS. I was like, bring on the Alpha King.
Right. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Did you do it bowls 3 and 2?
No, you know what I did? I just went straight to the margaritas. There's a Kettle One bar. Kettle One had margaritas, and Honey Butter Fried Chicken had a candied jalapeno margarita. So my kid's like, I'm getting ice cream, waffle cone. What are you getting? I'm like, oh, I'm about to get a margarita.
Okay.
So I just drank margaritas all night. It was great.
Nice.
Yeah. Cheers to the Bulls. Oh, and then for breweries, man, I ended up at Forbidden Root, man. Forbidden Root and Midwest Coast.
Okay.
Which are 2 breweries that are not too far from United Center. Matter of fact, it's like a 3-minute walk from Midwest Coast to the United Center.
Right. If you don't want to get there early, you could hang out at Midwest Coast. You might even, if the Bulls are playing a bad team, they're going to lose. So you might as well just cut out early and head to Midwest.
Yeah. When you look on the Chicago Brewing District website, it's not listed, but it's essentially a part of the Brewing District, right? I think it's a little too far west and they don't include it, or maybe it's just newer and they didn't pay the fee or whatever to get in. But it's not on the website.
Okay.
But it's basically over there. Wednesday night, and like Brad's saying, it's like, man, it was kind of perfect. It's reminded me of like the throwback days when beer wasn't crazy popular. It's dog friendly. I go in there's 2 dogs, and there's like maybe 4 people total. I got the whole lounge area to myself.
That would be good. That would be weird if dogs outnumbered people.
Just,
you
go take a piss, and then there's just a dog just kind of hanging out in the bathroom.
like one guy and like 5 dogs.
So I got the English Sporting Beer. That's their beer that won at JBF. That's their ESB. And then I got let me slow down. 14 beers to pick from at the old Midwest Coast.
That's too many.
That's a ton of beer.
That's too many.
And so then one of them was a barrel-aged Maud, which was a wine barrel-aged sour. It looked like a wine barrel-aged sour. Not a lot of wine, a little bit of wine.
Okay.
Not a lot of sour. Just a very muted profile. So it was fine. The ESB is where you want to be, though. It's English Sporting Beer. You know, Hunker's Ale, I think the brewers at Hunker's will also ESB. When they make Hunker's Ale, they'll always tell you it's a pain in the ass to make because it's got like 7 different fucking hops in it. It's got 4 different malts. Just a very big beer at like 4%. Very big flavor. So ESB is where you want to be at this fucking place. So I went to Midwest Coast. Oh, former guest on the show. He was saying how his I think the head brewer runs the beer. Obviously, is the head brewer, and then his sister designed the tap room.
Right.
Yeah, and I think his dad was like an owner of the hockey team, the San Jose Sharks, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we've, off pod, we've talked about who could close.
Yeah.
Midwest is like popped up in the conversation, but they got money. They got they possibly have some deep pockets just to like run it out for a while.
And you can tell by when you're sitting in a place that it's made. It's a very inviting space. It's not a bootstrap operation. It's very nice.
Right. And they're making good beer. There's no reason for them to close. Not like
this is Brad's thing every week. Brad is like,
who's closing?
I'm like, Brad, I don't know how I feel about this. We can't every week, pull names out of a hat of who we think is going to close, man. We can't keep doing this to the good small businesses of this fair city.
That's what I'm saying. You got to support them. I'm driving out there, 45 minutes.
That's true. Brad is on the front line. So shout out to the Midwest Coast, and then I went to Forbidden Root. So that was my 1-2 step. Forbidden Root is probably a 5-minute drive from there.
Okay.
The original Forbidden Root on Chicago Avenue.
You go 10% rosé.
Man, not that great.
You did.
I did. That's my jam. That's what I get every time I go. Forbidden Root was on my mind because Randy Mosier was on some podcast, and he was talking about reactions of malt. He was talking about something else, but they asked him about his beer projects, and he said 2 things that caught my eye. He talked about Forbidden Root. He said Forbidden Root, the top selling beer of Forbidden Root, is the strawberry basil Hefeweizen.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of caught me off guard, but it makes sense. Approachable. It's savory sweet kind of thing going. And that Forbidden Root, Five Rabbit is not dead. Five Rabbit is on hiatus. They are not officially dead. They needed to right size and sell their equipment, but pending next round of funding, they're going to resurface in Pilsen. They've targeted Pilsen, and they're just working out the details and funding. So they're not dead. They're on hiatus was the term he used.
No way you could come back and be like, hey, we're Five Rabbit. People be like, I didn't like your beers before. You're making new beers now. Or not to say that some people probably didn't like them or whatever. They're fine. They were like, but if I randomly saw Five Rabbit on the shelf again, I am not picking this up.
If they do this again, it has to be a customer-facing play, and it has to just be a Pilsen thing.
Yeah. Do not put your beer in the store because no one's getting this. You like burned all that.
What's funny about the Fire Rabbit story is that, it was the first Latin brewery in the country, I think, all those years ago, 2013 or whatever.
First Latin craft.
First Latin craft brewery, yeah. Because, we're not talking like Modelo and shit.
Yeah,
right.
okay.
But yeah, you're right. First Latin craft brewery. Oh, but they were going to move to Pilsen. But they decided that the space they wanted wasn't big enough. So that's when they ended up in Bedford Park out there by Midway Airport with this massive space. And then they started contracting for Ale Syndicate because they had so much space.
Right.
And it was a big go big or go home kind of thing. But their journey started in Pilsen. They were going to go to Pilsen first.
Imagine if they just went to Pilsen, been like, this space isn't big enough. We're also going to look for a second location to contract or to brew bigger stuff. But we'll have this spot because the tap room's important.
The tap room's important. When you go to Pilsen, it's a certain kind of Latin vibe out there. Like it's like a primarily Latino neighborhood, but it's kind of hipster Latin,
Sure.
Yeah, like it's very art forward, very cool food, very vibrant, it's not like you go to some neighborhoods and it can be like an all Latin neighborhood, and it's just like this kind of working class kind of. Not as exciting, not as vibrant kind of thing.
Sure, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Pilsen's not like that. Pilsen's a very fucking cool neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so that's what had me thinking about Fire Rabbit and Forbidden Root, and that's why I ended up at Forbidden Root.
Okay.
Fucking Midwest Coast had 14 beers. Forbidden Root had 16 beers. I thought everybody was kind of scaling back, and I see these two, and I'm like, well, these guys are outliers because they they're letting it rip.
Maybe they are scaling back and no one's buying their beer. They're like, oh, we gotta make something else because no one's buying our passion fruit stout. Yeah.
I want to say at both locations, the majority was draft, but then they both had like a can list as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think I got the rosé, the 10% rosé, and then I got like a guava, a 5% guava kettle sour thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I got the burger.
That's a good burger. That's a better burger. That's a great burger.
Yeah, I did get the burger.
Like, I go there because of the burger, and then they happen to have beers I like.
Yeah. I think, Forbidden Root happened to be an old movie theater back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can kind of see that classic arched structure of a theater and when you walk in. Mm-hmm. So I hadn't been in forever, man. It was nice just hanging out at the bar. No branded glassware at Forbidden Root. At Midwest Coast, they got the little dog with the fucking aviators on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no branded glassware at Forbidden Root.
Okay. Damn. Cool. Any other spots? Anything else you hit up?
No, man. I think that's it.
I feel like that was a pretty good run for this week for us.
It was good. It's good to get out.
Yeah, getting no dry January here.
What are we gonna do? Just go to work and that's it? I mean,
I don't know. You seeing all the stuff, the non-alcoholic beer stuff. Like there are a lot of options. There's a lot of good options.
Yeah.
I've seen I randomly saw a few TikToks where people are like, "I'm drinking these. These are just as good as beer. Like, and I don't get drunk." It's like, yeah, you're an alcoholic if you're like drinking 6 beers every night, and now you're like, "Oh, this is great. I'm not drunk." It's like, yeah, that's what most people do. You don't have to just pound your case of Busch.
Like we got this 4-pack. We're having some sips. I saw something, a non-alcoholic wine, and I'm like, non-alcoholic wine goes by another word, doesn't it?
Juice?
I was so confused. I'm like,
Pretty sure that's juice.
Is this fuzzy juice? This is carbonated juice, man.
Yeah, in the mornings I drink non-alcoholic mimosas.
It is weird. Because, but to your point, like, I don't know anybody. Either we are functioning alcoholics or we don't know anyone who just, like, struggles and has to drink all the time.
Yeah, I saw someone post, like, dry January is for alcoholics.
Yeah.
Like, not to say, like, people drink a lot during the holidays, so some people just are like, I just want, like, a break.
Take some time off.
Like, that's fine.
That's
I'm not,
fair.
like, and there's lots of good options now.
Yeah.
And I know the breweries do suffer during this January time, not only because of dry January, but people sort of like take it easy after the holidays, like they're not going out and everything.
Right.
So.
And then a lot of times, you had a mild winter. I don't want to ruin it by saying that, but and most times winters are more extreme than this.
Yeah, so
you just don't want to go out.
Like, I'm good. I'll stay home.
I got a gang of shit in the fridge, in multiple fridges.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
I will just sit here and drink Deep Woods.
And that'll be that. About to 4 o'clock hits, I'm drinking this Deep Woods, and that's that.
So, yeah, no dry January, but there are lots of good options. And, yeah, it's fun. It's fun to see the breweries, especially some of them are now starting to do a non-alcoholic beer.
The category, I think, has better options. I mean, options that taste better.
Yeah.
Same thing with vegans. Like, you go to some vegan joints and you're like, this wants to be a hot dog, but this is a shitty vegan hot dog. And then some joints are like, yo, this tastes just like a hot dog. I'm wondering if it's actually a hot dog or not.
Right.
Beer has entered that space where it doesn't even feel like, you go to, who's the crew that brews at Great Central, the Big Drop guys.
Right.
You get a Mexican stout from those boys, and you're like, yo, I'm not even missing. This tastes so much like a stout that doesn't bother me at all that it's not alcoholic.
Yeah, and I'm all for it. Like, we drink a lot of stuff that's like much lower in alcohol. We drink those big stouts too, but most of the time.
On the show, that's true. There's a lot of low
I was
stuff.
drinking 5% beer because we don't need to get trashed.
Yeah.
Then the show's no good. And we're just silly here.
You look up, it's an hour and a half where everything sucks and a lot of so many F-bombs, and we haven't really discussed anything. So we do keep it the way we be. That's true.
So, yeah, so I'm gonna have to drive out or find a new burb to go to.
Man. North Shore Brad.
I think I gotta go to Skeleton Key. I have
Skeleton
not been.
Key?
I have not been to Skeleton Key, They're back open now.
They
right?
are back open, back from the tornado.
Yeah. So.
You know, I like Suburban Brad. This is nice. This is a nice addition to the show.
But they don't have food, right?
No, it's in a strip mall too. Just like a classic industrial strip mall.
See, I need one. I need a spot with. I need one with food and one with no food.
Man, get that Portillo's Uber Eats action going, man.
I guess so.
Get that Tillo's delivered to you, you know?
Just show up with the Culvers, be like, all right.
And that's a suburb romp. If you're a skeleton key and order some Culvers, you're in there.
Okay.
You know, that's
Be
a
like,
true.
oh, I had the burger at Skeleton Key.
Yeah.
All right, I think I gotta do that. Cool. What else is happening? Oh, so speaking of places closing, Rock Bottom.
The old Rock Bottom, Chicago's, as far as we can tell, in the modern sense, this was Chicago's oldest downtown brewery.
Right. Yeah.
Berghoff has been open longer, but Berghoff wasn't a brewery until recently, until 2013 when Randy Mosher got involved. Mm-hmm. So shit, and Rock Bottom's we think like 99, something like that.
Yeah, somewhere around 2000, because it was 20 years
Yeah.
that they closed. So it's, it could have been 2003.
Yeah.
Really. It's hard to really say. I didn't see anything that said when they opened. Just said after 20 years we're closing.
Yeah. We had this talk with Rev about why there's not a lot of breweries downtown. Because I wanted to see Rev downtown because if I'm downtown a lot.
Yeah.
So you got Crushed by Giants and Berghoff, and you did have Rock Bottom.
Yeah, and you got that one that you got a preview of that's opening.
Oh, Industry Ales, that's going to be opening in the
not
loop.
far from where Rock Bottom was.
That's very true. But the Rev guys are saying most property downtown is not for sale, so you're just going to have these crazy rental prices, and no one can justify that.
Okay.
The Rock Bottoms in Minnesota closed since September, and I want to say
Orland Park's closed.
Milwaukee closed too.
I think Bolingbrook or Orland Park and Bolingbrook closed.
So
I think Warrenville's still open.
So you're seeing, they have a different management structure. So Rock Bottom, a national chain, let's start there. Rock Bottom's closing. The Rock Bottom Chicago was more significant, I think. Was significant as fuck for Chicago, not only for its location, but a lot of cool brewers kind of graduated from that Rock Bottom.
Pete Crowley kind of built what this Illinois beer scene is today out of Rock Bottom.
When you talk about the Godfather Pete Crowley, the largest event in the city is Oak Park. It's not in the city, but Oak Park is the largest guild event, and then FOBAB is the most revered event in town. And Pete had a hand in both of those, and Pete was a brewer for like 10 plus years at this Rock Bottom.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Do we go? We gotta go to Warrenville probably before it closes, right?
There's a Rock Bottom in Warrenville?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably. It's got to bite the dust then too.
It
It feels
trending.
like they're closing.
Yeah, is there? And when you look at the landscape, I wonder, how much of their, Granite City is a similar thing. Rock Bottom
Right.
ferments on site, right? I think, but Granite City, if I got it right, Granite City and the wort is shipped in and they ferment it there, but they don't make the wort at these.
Yeah.
But it's not a whole lot different from this Rock Bottom thing, and all of Granite Cities I think are gone.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, so it's like this idea of this chain, national.
But it's a TGI Fridays that makes beer.
So it's like,
Shouldn't it work? Why doesn't it work? Are TGI Fridays closing? Is Chili's
when the last time
closing?
you've been with?
It's been a long time. Yeah.
I like a TGI Fridays like the next guy, but there's just smaller, cooler versions of those things now, right? So it's just for whatever reason it's not as relevant. But to your point, man, that Rock Bottom should work. It's the only fucking thing downtown, essentially. We talk about Crushed by Giants, but Crushed by Giants doesn't have 2 bars and upstairs and a fucking rooftop, killer rooftop that through a festival every year.
Right. And you can't take your kids there and be like, I'm going to get, I don't know, the Reuben, and they can get their chicken wings and chicken fingers and fries.
You go in this joint, you see all these fucking awards, and I don't understand why it's not working. I don't think it's a rent thing, but it sounds like the people who run the company that owns Rock Bottom just doesn't want to be bothered with it.
Yeah, but 20 years, I saw someone mention that could have been a lease being up time, because a lot of those businesses are sometimes 5, 10, 20 years on those leases. It just might have came to an end, and maybe they were gonna jack up those prices because it's downtown, and they're like, "That's not worth it. We were screwed for 2 years. It's barely coming back now downtown. So
Big star downtown. Here
we're
we
out.
come.
Oh yeah,
Federales, here we come.
yeah. Something big has to go in there.
It's a very nice space.
Oh,
Say. Oh shit. My bad. Goddamn, I'm not a professional.
who's calling?
all
We're
these-
getting a phone in.
After all these years, I'm still not a fucking professional.
But yeah, I don't know who goes into the Rock Bottom. It's either a restaurant or it's torn down and we get condos.
That's a killer space. I doubt a brewery can swing it down there. If Half Acre and Rev they've clearly talked about it. If you talk to those guys, at least Rev has, and I don't think people can justify paying that much rent down there. Even if you crush it, you probably still a break even proposition because you're paying so much. You're paying out the ass to be there. Who can't afford it is big restaurant chain, unfortunately, right?
TGI Fridays.
Man, TGI Fridays with a rooftop. TGI Fridays keeps this brewing equipment and consults with Pete Crowley and just has TGI Friday branded beers.
No, they just do seltzers. They just brew seltzers.
Jesus Christ. You had me all the way up to the seltzer only thing.
They're TGI Fridays, only seltzers, rooftop.
I told you about this Jack Daniel barbecue sauce at TGI Fridays. It's quite nice.
Imagine having that with a mango seltzer.
It's quite nice. Yeah, it's a goddamn shame, man. Because it's weird. We've been talking about beer for a long time, and it's weird that in some circles beer's an old man thing. It's weird that breweries are closing, but it's the circle of life, right? All-time high in breweries in 2022. This is bound to happen.
Yeah, I think the Rock Bottom one hits people, especially that have been in beer for a long time. It hits them a little more than Smiley Brothers closing.
Haley Shine used to brew there. She was a Beta Bra tried to poach her, but she ended up going to Eris. So she was Eris's first brewer. So at one time, Eris had an all-female crew. The owner, the chef, and the brewmaster were all women. Haley Shine worked there. So that means the Pink Blue Society, they brewed their beers there, every year. So yeah, it was a little more sentimental. And it was literally the home to the first Fobat. It was literally Rock Bottom.
The Polar Beer Fest.
Polar Beer Fest on the roof. Yeah, and then on top of that, shit, it's a brewery that I don't know what the other Rock Bottoms were doing, but I remember Rock Bottom being everyone can just do whatever the fuck they want
For the most part, they had to brew I think the staples like the Fireman Pale or Fireman Red and a couple others, but otherwise you could kind of do whatever you wanted.
So that was cool. That was cool. So it was kind of a training ground. I think it was a Block Club Chicago that said Chris Bodges, who's the head brewer at Three Floyds, used to work there.
Oh,
too.
shit. Okay.
So I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of sad to see it go, especially in a town like this where we kind of, we're kind of known for these historic old things that we all kind of revere. It's just kind of sucks because we know another brewery's not going in there.
Yeah, unless the city, funded some sort of Chicago brewery co-op thing that was downtown, but that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, because money talks. Yeah, some big group's gonna swoop in and turn it into something generic.
Right. Chick-fil-A.
Or what's that? KFC, Pizza Hut, fucking thing that they have. The Yum brands.
Oh yeah.
They better
Taco
not.
Bell, Pizza Hut, KFC.
No.
All right, damn. Better news. Beguile's turning 10.
Cheers to Beguile, man.
That's pretty amazing. So that's half the time Rock Bottom. That's what sort of messes with my mind here. That Rock Bottom's always been here, and it says it closes after 20 years. But then Beguile's been here for 10 now. And it's so they've been here. Rock Bottom was only here 10 years before Beguile.
And we drank
opened.
a lot more Beguile than we did Rock Bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that's crazy. That's great for Beguile, and
Well,
also just crazy in the time thing that.
You don't, when you think of Beguile, you don't think of them being half the age of Rock Bottom.
Right.
That's true. That's wild. Man, I think Batch 1000 is really good at fucking Beguile.
Okay.
That Barely Barley Wine. I enjoyed it at the party.
And we just there's YouTube of us drinking the pajamas, the bourbon and the maple one.
Yeah. That's the thing, man. Smaller breweries, you know, they're out here throwing events, and they're out here touching the people. And if you're rock bottom, that's not a focus. You're counting on people to come to you. You know?
Yeah, they tried for like I think a little bit, and I think COVID just destroyed any of that sort of like possible goodwill they were starting to gain back.
And if you're corporate owned and your corporations and your headquarters is out of town, and it probably doesn't matter to you to show up at all these things to keep your name out there.
Right.
So
You're just working at rock bottom to get the job at the better brewery.
get the experience and get the hell out of there. Who knows?
But yeah, good for Beguiled, turn 10. There's going to be some events around that. So keep a lookout on their like Facebook or Twitter and for that kind of stuff.
I'm going through these beer for lounges, man. I'm feeling great.
I know. Like, do I open another one? But we're wrapping up here.
There's some in there, man. There's plenty in there.
Anything else? Anything else to discuss, mention before we get out of here?
No, I think that's it, man. The Chicago Beer Championships were this week.
Chicago beer or world beer?
Sorry, the World Beer Championships were this week. So maybe next week we'll have a full list of all the winners, since breweries are posting that they won, but the tasting.com has not posted a full list. It's
Okay.
kind of
Who were
annoying.
some of the winners you saw?
I saw Microphone
Okay.
won like thrice, and then another crew I've never heard of in Rock Island, Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah, had won. And
But
then
not like the Rock Island Oyster.
they have blue in the name. They're so unfamiliar that I forgot their name when I saw this, and they won like 6 times. I'm like, I got to get to the bottom of this. But that's always a festival or a tasting, a competition where people you don't expect to win usually win. So I'm curious to know like who all entered and who all won, because Short Fuse wins a lot at that thing. I Can Open wins a lot at that thing. Folks that you don't really expect.
Oh, yeah, Short Fuse. That's right. Short Fuse was winning everything for a while, and no one could understand why or how.
Yeah.
And they're still here.
Beer Championships was part of that. So more to come on that. We got to get to the bottom of who all won there.
All right. Cool. Well, then that's going to do it for this episode, our Beer for Lounging. Nick, where can people get in touch when we're not here?
Hey, man, I'm on Twitter at Nicosio.
And I'm on Twitter at BRAD, Chicago Beer Pass, Twitter, Instagram, website chicagobeerpass.com. Episodes are posted there. And we'll be back soon with some more stops we hit up, some suburban locations I go and eat burgers at. Yeah, that'll do it. Take care.
Cheers.